Antarctica is experiencing shocking changes that have left scientists stunned. From record-breaking heat waves nearly 40 degrees Celsius higher than normal to collapsing ice shelves and hidden rivers filled with life, the once stable, frozen continent is revealing its secrets. We're also seeing giant fossils, warm volcanic caves, and even a massive underground volcanic region. So stay tuned till the end to know everything about it. Antarctica is known for its freezing cold temperatures, with some parts staying around -50 degrees Celsius, -58 degrees Fahrenheit. So, when scientists recorded temperatures that were nearly 38.5 degrees Celsius, 69.3 degrees Fahrenheit, higher than normal in March 2022, everyone was shocked. This was one of the most extreme weather anomalies ever seen on Earth, and it happened in the interior of East Antarctica, where it's usually extremely cold even in March. What caused this massive temperature jump? It was due to something called a river of warm air. Normally, Antarctica is surrounded by strong winds called the polar vortex, which act like a barrier, keeping out warm air. But this time, the barrier weakened, and warm, moist air from Australia managed to push through into the cold Antarctic interior. Even though the temperature didn't rise above freezing, it was still a huge shock because such extreme heat could cause melting if it happened during the summer months. If temperatures like this become more common, it could be very dangerous for Antarctica. The ice sheet, which covers almost all of the continent, could start melting deep in the interior. This would be a disaster because the ice sheet holds massive amounts of frozen water. If it starts melting at a faster rate, it could raise sea levels around the world, flooding coastal cities and towns. Scientists like Martin Seigert from the University of Exeter are extremely worried. Seigert mentioned that when he started researching Antarctica 30 years ago, none of these extreme events were happening. Now, he's not just surprised, he's shocked. This record-breaking heat wave is just one example of how climate change is affecting even the coldest and most isolated places on our planet. If this continues, we might see even more unusual and dangerous events in Antarctica that could have serious effects on the rest of the world. Antarctica's ice shelves are like huge floating platforms made of ice, and they play a super important role in keeping the rest of the ice on land from flowing into the ocean. But over the past few decades, scientists have noticed that these massive ice shelves are shrinking, and in some cases, they've even collapsed completely. One of the most famous examples is the collapse of the Larsen B ice shelf in 2002. It was a giant ice shelf the size of Rhode Island, and it broke apart almost suddenly. When an ice shelf collapses, it's not just the ice shelf that's lost. The glaciers behind it, which were once held back by the ice shelf like a dam, can start moving much faster. After the collapse of Larsen B, the glaciers that were once held back sped up by about 8 times their normal speed. This means that huge amounts of ice are now flowing into the ocean, causing sea levels to rise. Anna Hogg, a scientist at the University of Leeds, said that the changes in Antarctica's ice shelves have been dramatic. Many ice shelves are thinning, and some are even breaking off into giant icebergs. When icebergs break away from the ice shelf, it's called calving. While calving is a natural process, the speed and size of the break-offs are increasing, which is not normal. One big problem is that warmer air and water are melting the ice shelves from above and below. When warm air reaches Antarctica, it causes surface melting, and this water can seep into cracks in the ice. The water makes the cracks deeper, eventually causing parts of the ice shelf to break off. At the same time, warmer ocean water is melting the ice from underneath, making the ice shelves thinner and more unstable. In December 2021, researchers made a mind-blowing discovery beneath the Larsen ice shelf. They found a hidden subsurface river that was not only full of water, but also brimming with life. This was a huge surprise because nobody expected to find an ecosystem deep below the ice. To explore this mysterious river, scientists drilled down over 1,600 feet through the ice. They were hoping to find just a simple water channel, but instead, they saw tiny creatures called amphipods darting around in the water. Amphipods are small, shrimp-like animals that usually live in the ocean. Their presence here, deep under the ice, left scientists amazed. It showed that life can exist in places we never thought possible. But it wasn't just the amphipods that were surprising. The river itself had strange alternating layers of water currents, which scientists still don't fully understand. These currents could be influenced by factors like the shape of the riverbed, or even distant events like volcanic eruptions. In fact, when the underwater channel was being studied, scientists noticed something even more unexpected. The river showed pressure changes caused by the eruption of the Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano, which happened thousands of kilometers away. For many years, scientists believed that the amount of sea ice in Antarctica was stable or even increasing slightly, unlike in the Arctic, where sea ice has been shrinking. But starting around 2015, things took a surprising turn. The amount of sea ice forming each winter in Antarctica began to drop, hitting record low levels in 2017 and breaking that record again in 2022. This year, the new record was set in July, and it was far worse than anything seen before. Caroline Holmes from the British Antarctic Survey pointed out just how unusual this change has been. The drop in sea ice this year was 3 times further from the average than any previous year. This means that there was a lot less sea ice than expected, and even the years that didn't break records were still showing strange and unusual patterns. The fact that sea ice is forming less and less each winter is a big deal because it affects not just Antarctica, but the entire planet. Sea ice plays a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate. Its bright white surface reflects sunlight back into space, helping to keep the planet cool. When there's less sea ice, more of the ocean is exposed. Dark ocean water absorbs more heat from the sun, which causes the water to warm up even more. This creates a feedback loop. Warmer water leads to less sea ice, and less sea ice leads to even warmer water. This loop could make it harder for sea ice to form in the future, leading to even bigger drops. But do you know, millions of years ago, the oceans were filled with giant marine reptiles that were just as fearsome. In 2019, scientists uncovered an incredible fossil in Antarctica that belonged to a massive creature called an elasmosaur. This ancient sea monster was part of the plesiosaur family, known for their long necks and powerful flippers. The fossil was found on Seymour Island, a place rich in prehistoric remains, and it was one of the most complete elasmosaur fossils ever discovered. This particular elasmosaur was enormous, measuring up to 40 feet in length and weighing as much as 15 tons. To put that in perspective, it was almost as long as a school bus. Unlike other elasmosaurs, which usually had very long necks, this one had a shorter, more robust neck and a bigger head. Scientists believe it belonged to a genus called Aristonectes, which was unique to the southern hemisphere. What makes this discovery even more fascinating is the timing. The fossil dates back to just before the Cretaceous-Paleogene (KPG) extinction event, about 66 million years ago. This was the same event that wiped out the dinosaurs, along with many other species on Earth. The fact that this elasmosaur was living so close to the time of the mass extinction suggests that Antarctica's marine ecosystem was vibrant and diverse right up until the very end of the Mesozoic era. Again, in 2022, a team of scientists made an incredible discovery beneath the Whillans ice stream in West Antarctica. Using a technique called magnetotelluric imaging, they found a giant reservoir of fossil seawater trapped far below the ice. This discovery was a huge breakthrough because it confirmed that there is a lot more water under Antarctica's ice than we ever imagined. The aquifer they found is not like a typical underground lake or river. Instead, it's a layer of salty water mixed with porous sediments deep under the ice. The top layer of this aquifer is mostly freshwater, while the deeper layers are extremely salty. Scientists believe that this fossil seawater has been trapped there for thousands or even millions of years, sealed away by thick ice. But one of the most fascinating discoveries was made near Mount Erebus, an active volcano on Ross Island. In 2017, a team of researchers from the Australian National University found a network of subglacial caves that were formed by steam from the volcano. These caves are warm, reaching temperatures up to 25 degrees Celsius, 77 degrees Fahrenheit, and have sunlight filtering through thin layers of ice. It sounds more like something you'd find in a fantasy book, but it's real. These steam-carved caves are like a hidden world beneath the ice. The warmth from the volcanic steam makes it possible for certain types of life to survive there, even though the surrounding environment is extremely cold. During their expedition, scientists collected soil samples from inside the caves and found traces of DNA from algae, mosses, and even small animal life. This was a big surprise because it showed that life could exist in places we thought were uninhabitable. The DNA found in these caves suggests that there might be unique species of plants and animals that have adapted to live in these isolated underground environments. Some scientists even believe there could be new species hiding in these caves, waiting to be discovered. It's exciting because it's like exploring another planet right here on Earth. Also in Antarctica, there's a massive volcanic region that stretches across the West Antarctic ice sheet. This area is called the West Antarctic Rift System, and it's home to one of the largest collections of volcanoes in the world. In 2017, a team of scientists made an astonishing discovery. They found nearly 140 subglacial volcanoes, with about 91 of them never described before. Some of these volcanoes are taller than the Alps, reaching heights of more than 12,000 feet, but they are completely hidden under miles of ice. The discovery was made using radar technology, which can see through the ice. Researchers scanned the ice sheet and noticed unusual mountain-like shapes beneath the surface. After studying the data, they realized that these shapes were actually volcanoes buried under the ice. This was a huge surprise because scientists didn't expect to find such a large volcanic province in Antarctica. The West Antarctic Rift System is now considered one of the most active volcanic areas on Earth. What's incredible about these subglacial volcanoes is that most of them are dormant, but some could still be active. When a volcano erupts under the ice, it doesn't shoot lava into the air like a regular eruption. Instead, the heat from the eruption melts the ice above it, creating large subglacial lakes and rivers. This can destabilize the ice sheet, causing it to flow faster into the ocean and contribute to sea level rise. The presence of so many volcanoes under the ice could be a big factor in the melting of the West Antarctic ice sheet. Scientists believe that the heat from these volcanoes might be making the base of the ice sheet warmer and more slippery, allowing the ice to slide more easily toward the sea. This could be a major reason why the ice in West Antarctica is thinning and melting faster than in other parts of the continent. If you found these discoveries as surprising as we did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.